Hey, what's going on, guys? Wolf here. For those of you who are returning, as usual, thank you for returning. For those of you who are not, welcome to the TCL Season 2. Now, even though the title, as you've read, does say Week 6, um, this is in fact our 5th match. We just got off the bye week, so we got an extra week to take off, relax after a couple losses, and start getting back to team building and building correctly and playing correctly so we can get some more wins under our belt. So this week we are facing Colin of the Snowbelle City Mamoswines. Overall, even though he's definitely not an easy opponent, I feel pretty confident overall, simply because I think I have a better team matchup against him, basically, overall. Um, Dust Noir does a ton to his team, Infernape does a ton to his team, Mamoswine does a ton to his team. So we're focusing on those guys with an emphasis on some good defensive threats to help support them. So that being said, Colin is the champion of Season 1, so he's definitely not a pushover. So we're definitely going to be trying to play our best here so we can pull off what we need to do. So, with that being said, um, our Pokemon are going to be catered to, like I said earlier, getting Dusknoir, getting Infernape, getting Mamoswine up and running so we can get as many kills as possible with those things, especially Dusknoir, who I'll go over in a minute. But first up, we have Latias. We are running a set that people who've played OU Ladder have seen a billion times. Standard Life Orb set with Defog and Healing Wish alongside Stab with Psyshock and Draco Meteor. So, now as you see on the Team Builder overlay, uh, he has a decent amount of impressive threats. Mega Gardevoir, Superior, uh, Conkeldurr, those are big ones. He also has a lot of other threats and things like Bronzong, who the opponent we lost to last time and lost to Bronzong, traded it over to him, so we got to face it twice in this season. A little bit irritating, but I've kind of psyched up Colin, little secret, so I don't expect him to bring it because he thinks that I'm going to be prepared for it. I'm really not going to be prepared for it, so we're just going to go on the fact that I intimidated him not to bring it this week. We do have answers, which I'll go into later on. He does have Entei as well. He's got Noivern, which is always probably one of the fastest dragons out there. And then he has things like Blastoise as a rapid spinner, Miltank as a heal bell supporter, Mach is an assault vest user. But basically, it's going to be revolved around Mega Gardevoir, Superior, Conkeldurr, and to a lesser extent Entei. So if I have a way to handle all those, we're good to go. So Latias takes out Conkeldurr very easily. Draco also does a number on things like Noivern on the switch, as well as just good neutral damage. Obviously, this set doesn't touch Mega Gardevoir, so we're going to be using other teammates for that. But Healing Wish support is excellent because I expect our threats to kind of be give and take. We're going to be taking a lot of damage and receiving a lot of damage, so I need a Healing Wish to pop up a key threat that can come back for a second go. EV spreads, exactly the same as ladders. Max speed timid to try and outspeed as many things as possible. 78 HP to out, I don't know, a little bit extra bulk. I'm not going to lie, I took this straight from Smogon's website. I didn't put a lot of thought into this one because realistically, I just need a decent amount of special attack. I need max speed, and after that, I don't really care because I'm only expecting to get a couple hits in with this and then Healing Wish something. So I didn't put a lot of thought into it, I'll be honest. Everything else, however, I pretty much did. Now, Electros is the first of our major Assault Vest users. We are using two because we have Tornadus as well. Now, in terms of moves, um, kind of a spoiler alert. I am taping this after I play Colin, so I kind of know how the match is going to go. In terms of this move slot, Volt Switch, I shouldn't have brought Volt Switch. The idea behind these 4 moves was I wanted switch momentum, volt switch on Electros, U-turn on Tornadus to get the volt turn core, with flamethrower to handle things like Superior, who I'd be switching into a lot. Um, it also handles things like Bronzong, who I normally can't touch otherwise. Handles Galvantula for sticky web support. So flamethrower was pretty necessary. Flash Count was also necessary for Mega Gardevoir. And Thunderbolt was necessary for things like Blastoise and Lantern if it was water absorbed. So Volt Switch was kind of a non-issue. I could have got rid of Thunderbolt instead. It doesn't really matter too much. But one of those had to have been Giga Drain because this set cannot touch Lantern, which I actually ran into in a problem in the actual match. Um, Lantern with Volt Absorb walls this set for days. So one of these, take your pick. I probably would have taken Volt Switch out, but I can see the argument for Thunderbolt and switch it to Giga Drain. That would be the perfect set that I should have. In terms of EVs, we are max health, max special attack. No speed investment or anything like that, but we want the max special attack we can to be able to tank. Uh, we can tank things pretty well with Assault Vest and HP. We're not planning on switching this into physical threats. It's pretty much exclusively for Gardevoir and exclusively for Superior. And we're aiming to hit them back as hard as we can, so that's why the investments are what they are. Now, Dusknoir is our main, kind of like a physical threat, so to speak. It does wall Conkeldurr pretty good, assuming it doesn't have knockoff, but I expect knockoff, so uh, I mean, it's pretty easy to expect a knockoff, so it can't wall Conkeldurr exclusively, but it does do quite a number on Entei, who normally can't touch this, being as tanky as he is, and we do have Earthquake to get that kill. It also happens to do decent amount to things like Miltank, Muck, walls quite a lot of his physical threats. Pretty much all his actual physical threats are walled by this. Now, we do have Thunder Punch as just another answer to Blastoise, as well as Lantern, because we are a little bit weak to that, but Earthquake is going to be our Lantern hit. Thunder Punch is just kind of if it switches in. Shadow Sneak's a big one, though. Having this priority is going to be huge. Shadow Sneak does an absolute ton to Mega Gardevoir. It also does a ton to just about everything else on his team because while he does have a pretty offensive team, not a lot of them are defensively invested. Things like Miltank are probably the only things that can reliably tank Dusknoir pretty well. And for that, I have Will-O-Wisp, so even then, it's not going to do a whole lot. Otherwise, he can't really touch Dusknoir. If I avoid the knockoffs and I avoid getting hit too carelessly, Dusknoir is going to do an absolute ton in this match. So, that being said, we have max HP investment and max attack investment to maximize that Shadow Sneak damage and maximize that damage with things like Earthquake and stuff like that. With this HP investment, I'm going to be able to take a ton of hits and be able to hit back super hard. So, Infernape, again, as I said, is another one of our offensive threats. Just the coverage moves of Flare Blitz, Close Combat, and Gunk Shot for Mega Gardevoir. These 3 moves hit just about everything on his team for super effective damage. I think it only misses out on 1 or 2, namely Muck, who I'm not too worried about. The other things can handle Muck pretty well. After that, we're going to have Swords Dance as a 4th move because we don't need a 4th move for coverage. These 3 hit just about everything. So we're going to be running max speed Jolly, max attack. The idea is to come out if we need them or if we find an opening for him, get a Swords Dance up, and then just start wall breaking the crap out of things. He doesn't have pretty much anything that outpaces this except for Noivern, which I do have to be careful of. But other than that, this takes everything else. So, Tornadus is our other, like I said, our other Assault Vest user with Regenerator. This is going to be what we have to answer Conk. Conkeldurr does quite a number on things like Mamoswine and stuff like that, so we need to have something that can come in, tank a hit, even an Ice Punch. With our max HP investment, it can take an Ice Punch, hit back with Hurricane for the kill, even through Assault Vest, so we don't have to worry about that. Heat Wave is for extra coverage against the same things that I had coverage with the Electros for. Things like Galvantula, things like Bronzong, stuff like that, who normally wall this. We also have Superpower as general, good old-fashioned damage, hits Drapion super effectively, does a decent amount to Lantern, who we can't touch with Hurricane or Heat Wave otherwise, and then U-turn for switch momentum. And then the EVs, of course, max HP like we talked about before, and max special attack. We are running a little bit slower, but that's okay because this team itself is a little bit slower. The only thing that can really outspeed this that I'm worried about is Superior, and Hurricane eats the crap out of that thing. So, not too worried about the moves otherwise. We do have a mild nature to maximize our attack for things like superpower, though, so that's something to consider. Last on the list, we have Mamoswine. Standard Focus Sash lead. We are going to run rocks. I expect him to lead something like potentially Galvantula or something like that. So I'm going to be able to Earthquake that and pretty much knock that down to Sash and then Ice Shard it to kill it off. I also have Knockoff for things like Bronzong. If it turns out to be Levitating, Knockoff will do quite a number to it, and then I can just set up rocks and switch out. In terms of EVs, we are running Adamant this time, as well as Max Attack and 4 in HP, just because, we're boss like that. HP investment with Focus Sash, best investment. But other than that, this is our team. Like I said, I am pretty confident about this team overall. It does struggle a little bit with, if I had my notes on me, struggles a little bit with the Lantern. Does struggle a little bit with the Bronzong. Like I said, I am still a little bit weak to Bronzong, but I expect him not to bring that. Instead, I'm expecting him to bring definitely the offensive threats that I mentioned, Gardevoir, Superior, Conkeldurr, and Entei, and then probably 2 support mons of some type. Maybe a Miltank, maybe a Lantern, Galvantula, some type of mix of those. Maybe even Blastoise if he wants the Rapid Spin support, because he did just pick it up. Speaking of pickups, we also dropped Registeel. As you can see in our team listing right after Scrafty, Registeel is no longer there. We didn't use him. Originally, like I said in the draft review, I picked him up specifically because Rhyperior was taken. Well, Rhyperior got dropped in week 4, so we're going to snag Rhyperior. Yes, I realize I have Rhyperior and Rhydon. No, I didn't really look at that when I did the switch. So we do have both, which falls under Species Clause. So we are looking to get rid of Rhydon. I've talked with a few people and thought we had an early trade, but he backed out of it. So now we're just kind of advertising that we'll take anything for it, because realistically our team is good even without. We could just not use Rhydon ever and just go down to 11 and just drop it forever, and we'd still be fine. But I'd plan on just getting anything and then seeing if I can play around with it later on in the season. So overall, that's the team. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions about the team, feel free to comment below. Also, make sure to set a like and subscribe, as well as check out my opponent's videos, which I'll have linked below this video as well as the match video. So, we'll see you guys later today for the actual match itself. And other than that, I don't have a cool catchphrase. So, I guess I will see you guys for the match, and take care.